Hi there! The weather is nice for one day and immediately I feel like making a summer top. This top has scoop neck and white straps as requested by one of you. This top is very easy to adjust to your own size and the stitches not difficult either. If you can make a double crochet and a chain, then you can make this top. It is good for beginners but also great fun for the more advanced crocheter. You can find the free written pattern on my website, the link is in the description box below. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more fun patterns and you aren't subscribed yet, then do so by pressing the red subscribe button and the bell next to it. I like to read your comments, so if you want to share something, you can in the comment section down below. Enjoy watching! For this top I used 2 skeins of Lorena from Ice Yarns. It is a 50% cotton, 50% acrylic, 100 grams is about 280 meters, and the recommended hook size is a 3 to 4. I'm going to use a 4 millimeter. They say it is a number 2 yarn, but I should say it is a number 3. But yeah. It is the color light jeans blue. Let's begin. To begin your pattern, we work from top to bottom. So we start with a round yoke and then make a bottom part at your top. To know how long your starting chain should be, you measure around your neck and you measure very loosely. So we want a wide neck, a little bit lower at the front and a little bit higher at the back. We fix that when we make the body. So we make first a round yoke. So for me that is 75 centimeters or about 29 inches. Maybe you want your neckline a little bit higher, then do so and measure around your neck where you want your neckline to be. Write that number down and we start with a chain for that length. So pick your yarn and your hook and then make a slip knot on your hook. So make a slip knot, insert, and chain the amount of stitches you need to get the length you wrote down. So for me that is 75 centimeters. So I chain until I have 75 centimeters. Keep in mind that you make multiples of 8. So you make multiples of 8, so 8 stitches and another 8 stitches and another 8 stitches, and then measure if you have the length you need. If you need more, then make 8 stitches more and then measure again. So see which amount of stitches fits the best in your length. So if you need 75 centimeters like me or 29 inches and you need 3 stitches more to make your multiples of 8, then make 3 stitches more. So you have a little bit longer starting chain. But you need the multiples of 8 for your stitch pattern. So make groups of 8 chains and then measure if you have the length you need. So maybe you need 1 chain extra and then your work is a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, then that is fine. It is important that you have the multiples of 8. So I do it like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is this the length I need? No, not at all. Then we make 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is this the length we need? No. So then make 8 extra. So keep adding 8 stitches at a time until your chain is the length you need or as close as you can get. And then I'll meet you back. I have the length I need. It is a little bit shorter than 75 centimeters or 29 inches because of my multiples of 8, but that is totally fine. If you think in the end your neckline is too wide, then you can make it narrower by making a border, so you can always troubleshoot when that happens in the end or after you made a couple of rounds. So to continue, you make sure your chain isn't twisted. like this, and then insert in the first chain. I use the back bump because I think that's nicer, but you can use the front as well. That is totally fine. So close this into a circle. Check again if you haven't twisted your work like this, so your chain lays flat, and then we start round 1. For round 1 we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and this counts as your first double crochet. And then in the next stitch, so this double crochet counts as your first stitch, so we skip the first one. In the next stitch we make a double crochet. So pick up the stitch and make a double crochet. So you have 2 double crochet next to each other, and then in the next stitch another double crochet like this. So you have 3 double crochet in the first 3 stitches, including the chain 3 from the beginning. Then we skip 2 stitches, so 1, 2, and in the third we make a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. So insert in the stitch, double crochet, 1, 2, 3 chains, double crochet in the same stitch. So back in the same stitch and make another double crochet like this. Then skip 2, 1, 2, and in the next we make a double crochet, in the next we make a double crochet, and in the next another double crochet, then skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and in the third we make a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. So double crochet, 1, 2, 3 chains, and a double crochet in the same stitch. Then we skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and in the next 3 we make a double crochet. So this is your repeat for the whole round. So we make 3 double crochet in the next 3 stitches, skip 2 stitches, then double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, skip 2 stitches, 3 double crochet in the next 3 stitches, skip 2 stitches, double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, skip 2 stitches, 3 double crochet in the next 3 stitches, skip 2 stitches, double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. So repeat this all the way around, and I'll meet you back when you are at the end of round 1. Okay, I'm at the end of round 1. I have made my last V-stitch. I have 2 stitches left, and here is my first double crochet, so the chain 3. That counts as my first double crochet. We close the round by making a slip stitch in the 1, 2, 3 in the third chain from the beginning chain 3. So make a slip stitch and your round is closed. This is the time to check if you like the size of your neckline. So put it over your head, make the front lower than the back, so your neckline at the front is nice and low. If you think that is the shape you like, then we continue with round 2. If you think you need a bigger neckline, then add a couple of chains and redo round 1, so your neck will be bigger. So check that first before you continue with round 2. Okay, for round 2 we chain 3. We start every round with a chain 3. That counts as your first double crochet. So this is your first double crochet. We start round 2 with an increase. So you see here 3 double crochet, and we need to make that 4 double crochet. So we increase 1 in the middle one. So this chain 3 counts as your first double crochet, so we skip this one, and in the next we make 2 double crochet. So 1 and 1 in the same stitch. So that makes 2. And then we make 1 in the last double crochet. So we increase 1 stitch. And then we have the V-stitch, then we make a double crochet in the V-stitch, chain 3, like this. So you make a V-stitch in the V-stitch. This stays the same throughout the whole yoke. And then we have 3 double crochet again. So we make 1 double crochet in the first, 2 in the middle one, and 1 in the third. So we increase 1 stitch in the middle double crochet. So make sure you don't make a double crochet in the double crochet from the V-stitch, but make a double crochet, your first one in the first of the 3. So 1 double crochet in the first, 2 in the second, 1 and 2, like this, and then 1 in the last. So you made 1 extra double crochet. Then the V-stitch, and in the V-stitch we make another one. So double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and another double crochet, like this. Then we have 1, 2, 3 double crochet again. So we make 1 double crochet in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third. So we have 4 in total. So 1 in the first, 2 in the second, and 1 in the last, like this. And then a V-stitch again in the V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in the first, 2 in the second, and 1 in the last. And this is your repeat for the whole round. So we increase in every middle double crochet of the 3. In the middle one you make 2 double crochet, and the other 2 gets 1, and every V-stitch gets a V-stitch. So repeat this all the way around, and I meet you back when I am at the end. I made my last V-stitch in the V-stitch, and now it is time to close the round by making a slip stitch in the 1, 2, 3 in the third chain from the beginning, chain 3, like this. So by making 1 extra double crochet in the sets of double crochets, we've made an increase of 1 stitch in every 8 stitches. So we have a multiple of 8, so we need to increase every 8 stitches, 1 stitch in every round. For round 3 we increase again in the sets of double crochet. So first we made 3, now in round 2 we made 4, and now we make 5. So that way we increase in every round 1 stitch in the sets of double crochets, and the V-stitches, they stay the same. So V-stitch in the V-stitch. So for the next, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we need to make 5 double crochet in this set of 4. So we make a chain 3, we just made that one, that is our first double crochet. So the first stitch we skip, and in the next stitch we make a double crochet as well, like this. And then we make a double crochet in between the second and third. So insert in between, make a double crochet like this. So that one is in between the second and third, and then yarn over and make a double crochet in the third stitch as well. And then in the last double crochet we make also a double crochet. So you make a double crochet in every stitch, and you make an extra stitch in between the second and third stitch. So you have 5. Then a V-stitch in the V-stitch, double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, and then we have 4 stitches here. Again, 4 double crochet, make a double crochet in the first, a double crochet in the second, a double crochet in between the second and third, make a double crochet in the third and a double crochet in the fourth. So you have 5 in total. So in the first, a double crochet, in the second, a double crochet, and a double crochet in between the second and third, and then make a double crochet in the third in the stitch and a double crochet in the fourth, and then you have 5 double crochet and then a V-stitch again, chain 3 and a double crochet to finish your V-stitch. So this is your repeat for this round. So make 1 double crochet extra in between the second and the third, and the rest stays the same. Work your way around and I'll meet you back at the end of round 3. This is the end of round 3. We close the round with a slip stitch in the 1, 2, 3 in the third chain from the beginning chain 3, like this. So for round 4, it is the same. We chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we increase 1 stitch in this group of 5. So in this case, you increase in the middle stitch. There you make 2 double crochet. So this counts as your first double crochet. Then the next stitch gets 1. That's number 2, and the third gets 2 stitches. 1 and another one in the same stitch, like this. And then the last 2 gets 1 stitch. And the rest is all the same. So you make an increase in the middle stitch, in the middle of the 5. There you make 2 double crochet. The V-stitch is the same, and then increase in the middle stitch of the group of 5. Work your round 4 all the way around, making 2 double crochet in the middle stitch of the group of 5 and a V-stitch in the V-stitch all the way around, and I'll meet you back when you are at the end of round 5. And then we need to check if your yoke is wide enough or if you want an extra round to make your straps a little bit wider. First finish round 4 and then we check if we need an extra round or if we continue the rest of our top. To end round 4, we close the round with a slip stitch in the third chain, just like we did in every round. And now it is time to see if you like the width of this yoke. So put it over your head and see if this part covers enough of your shoulder. So if you think this part needs to be wider, then make 1 more round. If you think your strap is wide enough, then continue to the next step. So I tried my work on and I make 1 more round. So I make a total of 5 rounds for my yoke. So for round 5, you chain 3. If you think your yoke is wide enough with 4 rounds, then skip this round and come back when we start the body of the top. But I like my strap a little bit wider, so I make 1 more round, so 5 rounds in total. So chain 3, double crochet in the next stitch, and a double crochet in the next stitch, and then in the middle, in between the third and the fourth, we make a double crochet and then make a double crochet in the stitch and in the 5th and the 6th, like this, and then a V-stitch and then 7 double crochets in this group of 6, V-stitch and so on. So work your way around and make a slip stitch in the third chain from the beginning chain 3 to close your round, and then I'll meet you back to show you how to make the body. Okay, I'm at the end of round 5, close the round with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain. And then your yoke is done. Now we need to decide how we divide the front and the back. So place it like this and then keep about 1 inch in between the front and the back. So when you place it like this on your table, then you should have about 1 inch in between the front and the back. Then you turn the work so you have the back facing you, and then you need to see if you divide it evenly. So I have here on this side in the corner my V-stitch, and in this side I also have a V-stitch, so that is what we want. So put in your stitch markers in the V's in the corner. So on this side put in a stitch marker, and on this side, and then when you open your work you see this is the width of your back panel. So we start a couple of rows for the back panel, and then in the end when we are done with that piece, because when you fold your work again like this, so here and here, then you see this point is a lot higher than this point. So we need to cover from stitch marker to stitch marker, work your way down until this is exactly the same length as the front of your work. So that is the first step that we are going to do. Okay, when your stitch markers are in the stitches, in the V-stitches in the corner, then you can pick up your yarn, and you see here is my stitch marker. I need to work in that direction because I need to work until the stitch before this stitch marker, and I start where my round 5 ended, so I can continue with the yarn I used for the yoke. If your working yarn is somewhere else on your work, then you can replace your stitch markers, that's an option, or cut your yarn by enough weave in and attach your yarn at the stitch next to the stitch marker, so on the inside. And then we chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That is your first double crochet. So you have here the V-stitch, we have to work in that direction, and this is our first double crochet of the row. So we no longer increase, we just make 1 stitch in every stitch across. So in every double crochet we make 1 double crochet. And in my case that are 7 double crochets. Maybe you have 6 because you made 4 rounds for the yoke, then make 6. Then we are at the V-stitch, so continue making a V-stitch in every V-stitch. So that is the same, chain 3, another double crochet to complete your V-stitch, and then make 1 double crochet in every double crochet across until you are at the next V-stitch. So 7 double crochet, 1 in every stitch, and if you are at the V-stitch again, then make a V-stitch in the V-stitch. So repeat this all the way to the other stitch marker, and then end with a double crochet in the last double crochet before the V-stitch. So we don't work in the V-stitch, you make a double crochet in the last stitch before the V-stitch, and that's the end of your row. Then you chain 3, turn your work, and do exactly the same on your way back. Because we worked in the round, our stitches are all facing up. So we work in this direction, though that is the same direction as we worked our round. So these stitches also face up. But when we chain 3 and work our way back, then we have the back of our work at the top. So then if you have this side in front of you, then you see the back of the stitches in that row. We can solve that problem by inserting our hook in a different spot. I show you how when you finish this row. So first, finish this row, making 1 double crochet in every stitch and a V-stitch in every V-stitch, and end in the last stitch before the stitch, the V-stitch with the stitch marker. And then I'll meet you back and show you how to make your way back. I finished the first row of the back panel, and now I show you how to turn your work and work the other row. 1, 2, 3, just like you start every new row around, and turn your work. This is the back of your work, so we want to have the same look of the stitches at the front. So we skip the first stitch. The chain 3 counts as your first double crochet, so we skip this first stitch, then we go to the second stitch. And you see here the V where we normally work in, but in this case you have the front loop and the back loop. We pick up the back loop, and when you turn your work further to the front, you see here another little loop on top of the stitch. So we pick up this loop and that loop. So you have 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over, pull up a loop, and finish your double crochet. And this makes sure on the back you see that there will be a little ridge, but at the front you will see that that is making a flat front, and the stitch looks like the other stitches, so it looks like you worked in a round. So let us do that again. Yarn over, turn your work. You see here the stitch we just worked. This stitch is here, this is the third stitch. This is the front loop, and here's the back loop. Insert in the back loop, and then turn your work further to you. And then you see here another loop on top of the double crochet, and this is on the front of the stitch at the front. So pick up that loop as well, and then finish your double crochet. If you think this is too difficult, then just work in the stitches. That is also totally fine. That's up to you. So you can also pick up the stitches just like normal, or you can pick up the back loop and the loop below the back loop, and then finish your double crochet. It doesn't matter, but make a choice and do only that stitch. So don't make one row with in the normal stitches, and then in the other even row make a stitch in the back loop and the loop. So make your choice and make that stitch throughout the whole top. So finish this all the way to the other side, just making 1 double crochet in every stitch and a V-stitch in every V-stitch until you are at the last stitch. You can take out the stitch markers now, we don't need it anymore. And make a double crochet in the top of the chain 3 to finish your row. Then chain 3, turn your work, and then we work our way back, and then we work at the front again. So there we can just use the stitches. So we work the back loops and the loop below the back loop only in the even rows. So in row 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. And the uneven rows just work the whole stitch. And then you work that until, let me zoom out again. Work these rows until this part, so from top from the top of the yoke at the back, work your rows until it is the same length as the front. Just cover this part. And here it will be wider, of course, because you make a rectangle by making the rows without decreasing or increasing. So this will be straight and the bottom should be as long as the front of your yoke. And then I'll meet you back when you worked the rows for the back and you have your yoke and about 10 centimeters or 4 inches in length extra, then you can see it should look like this. So the bottom of the front is the same. Line it up with the back. So I have here the V-stitches in the middle of the back, and this is the middle of the front. So then you count how many, let me flip my work, how many V-stitches you have in the back work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you count, this is the middle one. So you need 5 V-stitches on the front as well. Only for the back we worked this part also. For the front we work only the last and the first double crochet of the set of 7 before and after the last. So before the first V-stitch and after the last V-stitch you have 1 double crochet on each side instead of 7. So that's the difference with the front and the back. So put in stitch markers on that spot on both sides, and then we continue working the back, and then I'll show you how we start the front and how we make it around again. So for the back you insert your hook and then we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn your work, and then we work an extra double crochet in the first stitch. So we increase in the first and in the last stitch. So insert and make another double crochet in the first stitch. So here you have an increase. And then we make 1 stitch in every stitch. And you can choose to work the back loop and the loop of the double crochet instead of the whole stitch, but that is an option. So we work double crochets until the V-stitch. And then we no longer make a V-stitch, but we make double crochet stitches here. So from now on we work only double crochets. So make a double crochet in the first stitch of the V. So in the stitch, in the double crochet, you make another double crochet. Then in the V, you make 3 double crochet. So yarn over and make 3 double crochet around the V stitch. And make 1 double crochet in the other leg of the V stitch. So in the double crochet, and it should look like this. So this is your repeat for the whole row. So work double crochet stitches in every stitch across until you are at the next V stitch, and then make a double crochet in this double crochet of the V stitch, make 3 double crochet in the V stitch and make a double crochet in this double crochet of the V stitch. So a total of 5 double crochet covering the V stitch, and then make the double crochet in every stitch across. And in the last stitch, so in the chain 3, in the top of the chain 3 you make 2 double crochet to increase at the end. So we start with 2 double crochet and we end with 2 double crochet in the same stitch. Then chain 3, turn your work and make another double crochet in the first stitch. So again 2 double crochet in the same stitch and work your way back, and then you can just make 1 double crochet in every stitch across because you have all stitches then, so no more V stitches to work in. So work your way this way, then chain 3, turn your work, make another double crochet in the first stitch and work your way back and end with 2 double crochet in the last stitch again, and then I'll meet you back. I've made 2 rows of double crochet stitches and I made 2 in the beginning and 2 in the end, so I increase at both sides. And now it is time to cut your yarn and bind off. You can weave in this end right now or leave it out and weave it in later. So, and now flip your work. And then we start working on the front. And our front needs to be wider at the side as well. So we increase also at this side, at both sides. Okay, we attach our yarn in the stitch with the stitch marker. So we have to work from this side to this side. So you can take out the stitch marker, insert your hook in that stitch. So that is the last double crochet before the V stitch. Then grab your yarn and chain 1 to secure. And now we chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This counts as your first double crochet, and we make another double crochet in the same stitch. So yarn over, insert in the same stitch, and make a double crochet. And I work over my tail, so I weave it in at the same time. And now it is exactly the same as the back. We make all double crochet stitches all the way across, making 5 double crochets in every V. So yarn over, here starts our V stitch. So in the beginning double crochet of the V stitch, make a double crochet, 3 double crochet in the V, 3, and 1 in the last stitch of the V. That makes 5 in the V stitch, like this, and then double crochet in every stitch across, in every stitch, and then 5 in the V stitch. Repeat this all the way to the other stitch marker, and in the stitch with the stitch marker you make 2 double crochet. And you can leave your end out and weave it in the end. That is also fine. So keep working just like you did for the back, all the way to this side, and the stitch with the stitch marker you make 2 double crochet, and then you can take out the stitch marker, then chain 3, turn your work and make another double crochet in the first stitch to increase, then make 1 double crochet in every stitch across until the end and make 2 double crochet in the end. Work this way and back, and then I'll meet you back. So I worked my way back and forth, so I have 2 rows of double crochets, starting with 2 and ending with 2. Now we make 1 more row of double crochets, starting with 2 double crochet and ending with 2 double crochet, and after that row we start working in a round again. So we make the bottom half of the piece. So first make your 3rd row of double crochet, chain 3, turn your work and make another double crochet in the same stitch to increase, and then work 1 double crochet in every stitch across until the end, and then make 2 double crochet in the top of the chain 3 to end your row. Then I'll meet you back, and then I'll show you how to make the bottom half of the top. Okay, I finished my 3 rows of double crochet with increases at both sides, and now it is time to make the whole piece into one. At this point you put your work on and see if you can touch these 2 ends under your armpits without stretching the work very much, and see in front of the mirror if you like the fit. If you think it is too tight here, then work 1 more row at the front and 1 more row at the back with the increases at the beginning and at the end, and then try it on again and see if it fits, and if it fits, then continue with the round I'm going to show you now. And if it is too big, that's also an option. If it is too big, then take out 1 row, so you can make it smaller that way. Okay, to continue, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, don't turn your work. So we continue working in this piece. So yarn over and insert in the same spot and make another double crochet. So you increased here with 1 stitch. Then yarn over and search for your first stitch. So that is the top of the chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Or it is the last double crochet of that row. That depends on how many rows you made. So insert your hook in the top of the chain 3 or in the first double crochet, but your first stitch, and then make a double crochet like this, and make another double crochet in the same stitch. So we now attached our yarn to the other side, and now we work all the way across until the other end of the back. So no more increases, just 1 stitch in every stitch, all the way across until the other side, and then I'll show you how to attach the back to the front like we did here. So work your way to the other side, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, I am at the last stitch of my back panel. Make 2 double crochet in this stitch, 1 and 2, and then we pick up the front like this, and then we make 2 double crochet in the top of the chain 3 or the first stitch if you have a double crochet there. So insert, oh I'm sorry, the end is in the way, so insert in the first stitch, and make a double crochet like this, and make another double crochet in this stitch. Like this. And now work double crochet stitches along the front until you are at this, at the beginning again, and then I'll show you how to move on. I'm at the end of the round, and now we keep on working in the rounds. So we don't close our rounds, we just insert, so yarn over, insert at the top, in the top of the chain 3 from the beginning chain 3, and make a double crochet like this, and we make 1 double crochet in every stitch around. Mark your first stitch, so you know this is the stitch where you started, and then we no longer increase in under the arms, we just work 1 double crochet in every stitch around, round after round, without closing the rounds, until, let me show you, until the bottom is the length you want. So keep working in the rounds, making double crochet 1 stitch in every stitch, don't close your rounds, keep working until your top is the length you want, and then work until you are 2 stitches before the stitch marker. And then I'll meet you back and show you how to finish it off. The length of my top is done. I worked, let me turn my work. I worked rounds of double crochets until I liked the length, and now I am at the stitch marker, so where I started my rounds, and there I end my rounds. So to end your round, we make 2 stitches before the last stitch, so before the stitch with the stitch marker. Just follow the line and then you see where it is. 2 stitches before, you make a half double crochet in the next, a single crochet in the next, and a slip stitch in the next. And that way you make your line straight again. Now you can choose to leave it like this or make a border at the bottom, and you can choose to make the same border at the armholes and at the neckline, but that's totally up to you. So you can choose what you prefer. I'll show you how you can make the border, and then you can choose if you want to add it to your work, and if you want to make it only at the bottom or only at the armholes or at the neckline, or you make it everywhere. That is totally up to you. So for the border we make the crab stitch, chain 1, and then instead of working single crochets this way, so in the direction you always work in, we work our single crochets backwards. So you insert your hook in the first stitch behind the stitch, the last stitch you worked in, and then in the next, and then in the next, and then in the next. So you make normal single crochets, but then you insert your hook. In this case I insert in this stitch, like this, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So this is your first stitch. Then insert in the stitch behind and make a single crochet. Insert in the stitch behind and make a single crochet. Insert in the stitch behind and make a single crochet. And I think it is easy to hold the loop on your hook with your finger so it doesn't slip off while inserting your hook. So this is super easy, but it gives a nice bottom. So repeat this all the way around and make a slip stitch in the first stitch when you are at the end to end your round. Then bind off with your end and then your top is done. Or you can decide to make the same stitch around the armholes and the neck line, but that is totally up to you. And this is the end result. I hope you like this tutorial and you want to make yourself a top. If you like this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up, and if you aren't subscribed yet, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss another video. If you have an idea or a request for a next tutorial, let me know in the comments down below. See you next time. Bye.